Hi, today I am recording a solo episode for Something New is Possible, and I am doing it actually from the Philippines. So, have you ever noticed how easy it is to feel peaceful when life goes the way you want it to go, and how quickly that peace disappears when it doesn't? Many of us spend our lives trying to control circumstances so that we can feel okay. We want people to behave a certain way. Of course, we do. We like to control. And we also want situations to unfold the way that we want them to unfold. We want life to cooperate with our plans. But what if that peace doesn't really come from the outside, but rather it comes from the inside? And us learning how to return to that peaceful place inside of ourselves. Today, I want to share a personal story about trust, about losing my center, and about learning how to get back to that center again and again and again. And this is a story that was really profound for me, and it started some time back. A few months ago, I signed up for a yoga retreat in India. My intention was very, very clear. I wanted the trip to be transformational. I wanted to feel more connected to the people in Israel, where I live, and I wanted to slow down, go inward, and grow. Like many people, life can move very, very fast, and my life moves very fast. Children, work, friends, and many other elements that are part of my life responsibilities, conversations, decisions, just like yours. And even meaningful work can sometimes pull us away from ourselves and our center. As a coach, I actually, as you can probably guess, teach people how to connect or reconnect with their center. As that's how I spend my days, and I challenge them. I help people also navigate their challenges and understand their emotional patterns, so that they can find balance when life throws them off center. But even when you guide others, that there's still work for you to do, for me as a coach. And I like to practice what I preach. So hence I signed up for the retreat in India. I knew that there were still things that I had to learn, or things to complete, or learn lessons on a deeper level. And I think when I signed up for this retreat, I knew that somehow that was going to manifest. So when I allow myself to go on these adventures, at the same time, I also open myself up to see what life has in store for me. So, what happened, you may ask yourself? What I did learn was a lesson about trust. India did give me transformation. One of the biggest lessons I learned really was about carrying internal rule that I already knew about in combination with trust. I, in general, don't trust people that much. I've been disappointed a lot, and trust has not been something that comes easy to me. Maybe on the surface, or maybe even on a deeper level, but really, 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 really deep down, I knew that there was work for me to do. It wasn't something that I consciously decided one day. It was more like a quiet belief, I think, that formed over time. It definitely came from my childhood, and negative experiences that I had, disappointments, and from moments when trusting felt painful. And I also know that we recreate the same experiences over and over again until we've learned from them, or actually, maybe better said, when we heal from them. So the rule became, for me, not to trust people was actually a way to protect myself. So I didn't trust too easily. I wanted to stay a little guarded, keep some emotional distance. And what I want to say here is that many of us have rules like that inside of ourselves, quiet rules that guide us how we move through life. And during my time in India, something started to soften. I experienced kindness from strangers, and I saw that people were helping each other without expecting anything in return. in a new way that I had previously experienced. There were small moments of openness and warmth that reminded me how natural it actually was to connect and how easy it is to connect. I noticed that people smiled at each other and how willing they were to engage, to help, and really to be there for one another on a deep, deep, deep level. So, because I had a desire or want to let go of that old belief, I started to questioning my old rule in a new and perhaps more profound way. And as I'm saying this, I realize that yes, protection is necessary, but maybe keeping your heart closed also prevents us from experiencing the beauty of human connection. So little by little, that belief started to lose its grip, and I was ready to let it go. What came next was quite profound for me, and I would describe it as an unexpected turn. A few weeks ago, after the yoga retreat, I suddenly found myself stuck outside of Israel. I couldn't return. And my journey continued, not in the way that I had imagined it, but sometimes transformation doesn't just happen in a retreat, it happens outside the retreat, or we take the learning that we have in the retreat and we continue it. So while I do feel that in the retreat I was able to let go of that old belief, what happened then later when I wasn't able to return to Israel was sort of like a continuation. So here, here's how it goes. All of a sudden, I was confronted with having to make a lot of decisions and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of I don't know what my next step is going to be. And during that time, as I was looking to make decisions that I was very aware of that people might be upset with, another question started to surface inside of me. Why do I sometimes go off balance and get more upset than I would like to, especially when I look at the outside? Not all the time, but way, way, way more than I want to. So I started to watch myself more carefully. I wanted to understand what was going on. What happens in the moments when I feel triggered or unsettled? Of course, having a war started was something that really triggered me. Not being able to get back home triggered me. Um, where to sleep triggered me. Lots of those. Having to do this all alone triggered me. Having problems with my visa triggered me. Lots and lots and lots of things. And the answer when it came was simple and yet very powerful. What I realized is that when my focus moves outside of myself, then I quickly lose my center. When peace depends on what someone else does or doesn't do, when my emotional state depends on whether life unfolds the way I want it to, then I lose my center. And maybe you recognize this as well. We feel calm when things go our way, when people say what we want them to say. But when somebody or something disappoints us, when the circumstances change, boom. Uh, and the unknown in a way that we don't like it enters the picture, we feel thrown off balance. Sometimes a lot and sometimes a little. And I want to talk about, both ways, and so that you can see how you deal with this inside of yourselves. So for me, I wanted to see what I did with this and how I could practice to get back to my center, because it feels a whole lot better when I'm in my loving, when I'm peaceful, when I'm happy. So what I do? What did I do? There were a few lessons that stood out, and these are not new lessons. They're kind of well-known lessons, but I wanted to mention them here. And one of them, of course, is to let go of expectations and to do it as fast and as quickly as you notice the expectation. The second was wrapping my judgment in love. So, we are judgment machines and we judge all the time. And when I was able to put love around it, it was easier for me to do the third step, or the third thing recommendation, which would be to let go and practice forgiveness and to move myself into gratitude. Lastly, one of the things that sort of helped me to sometimes actually get it going was to realize that I'm human and that I can make mistakes and I'm not perfect. And doesn't matter how long I've been coaching, that I too have a process, and then I'm I'm on a continuum of learning and growing. And then maybe finally, for me, it was just to let go and let God. And when I did the previous practices, it was so much easier for me to actually do that. These 5 practices are not things that we master and then when we one day maybe we have them down and then we don't ever need to do them again. These are things that we want to do on a daily basis. We practice them over and over and over again. Every time life presents us with another opportunity to grow. So, where do we go from here? What I see in my coaching work that, and I see this all the time, is that what people think upsets them is from the situation that they're in right now. And it's true. I mean, obviously, I got upset because of the war, but when I allowed myself to look deeper and look at the real trigger, then I was able to do some deeper work, such as my abandonment issues or my I'm not good enough issues that somehow were connected in the situation. Old patterns, old beliefs, things that have been around for a long time, old emotional memories that we haven't healed. Our nervous system reacts before our mind even understands what's happening. And by mind, I mean the emotional and the mental part of our brain. And what happens is we feel off balance. The beautiful thing is that these patterns are not permanent. We can change them. So, whatever people tell you that you can or can't change, our brains are capable of change. We can create new responses. We can create new neuroplasticity. We can learn how to pause. We can analyze. We can, use neuroemotional coaching, muscle testing to find out what's going on the deeper level, and we can transform it. These are all very, very powerful things to do. And then we can gently guide ourselves back to the center. And the center where the harmony is present, that's where it's at, and that's what it's all about. So let's do a small exercise. I invite you to do this. And you can try it this week, or I should say, don't try it. Actually, just do it this week and then just see what happens. So here it goes. The next time something triggers you, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself these 3 simple questions, and you might want to write them down. Number 1, what just happened? Why did I get triggered? What triggered me? How did I get triggered? What am I feeling? Number 2, I actually just said it. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Go as deep as you can. And where's my focus? Is it inside of me or is it outside of me? Just notice that this can already shift what's going on inside of you because you're not so busy to not feel what you're actually feeling because, anything that's uncomfortable for us, we don't want to feel it. Awareness is often the first step back to being in harmony in our center. They say that simple awareness is often curative. So, how do we return home? Inside of each of us, there's a quiet place, and you might want to spend some time cultivating that place, a kind of inner happy place, a place that doesn't depend on circumstances. It just is. Doesn't depend on other people's behavior, opinion, and it doesn't depend on whether life unfolds according to our plans. It just is. It's a place of presence, a place that we can return to anytime we want to, again and again and again, maybe 50 times a day, every time life throws us off balance. So, how do I want to wrap this up? Now, as I'm in the Philippines, I know something with certainty. I am stepping into the next chapter of my journey, and I'm getting to see how am I working with these elements? What's my practice like? When something throws me off and I get triggered, how quickly can I turn my focus inside and see what I need to stay on the inside? I don't know exactly what will happen, but my commitment is that I will practice it every day and make it my mission to go back to my center as quickly as possible. My final thought today is maybe the real transformation in life is not becoming someone new. Maybe it's simply remembering how to come home to yourself. So I leave you with this. Where's your home? Maybe you need to spend cultivating your home inside. And how quickly and how long and how much of the time can you live in your home? I thank you for listening today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and have a blessed day.